Hi, I'm Scott Marthaler. Welcome to Fearsome Critters, where we tell new stories about the fictitious creatures of American folklore. Today's story is about the fearsome Hodag, a green, toothy resident of the Northwoods of Wisconsin. Our story today is narrated by Misty Valadez and illustrated by Jay Jones. Stick around afterwards for more information about this fearsome critter.
During the dog days of summer, there is no better place to be than the Northwoods of Wisconsin. It is a veritable outdoor paradise with temperatures in the 80s, low humidity, and the mosquitoes can no longer carry you away. At least that's what your aunt and uncle always tell you. Every year they would invite you up to their cabin on the lake to get away from all the hustle and bustle of the city, and every year you'd find an excuse not to go. This year, though, you decided to take up your aunt and uncle's invitation. The past few months had been rough. Work had been intense. Your relationship fell apart, and you could feel burnout right around the corner. At least you still had your dog, a stalwart companion through and through. A few weeks of peace and quiet sounded like just the ticket. You left Chicago early in the morning, and by the late afternoon you were smack dab in the middle of that Northwoods splendor, quickly approaching the town of Rhinelander. Over the next few weeks you've enjoyed the lakes, trails, and the Friday night fish fries accompanied by friends and family. The frequent visits to the ever-popular taverns are filled with talk of fishing stories, the Green Bay Packers, good-natured ribbing on the bane that is Illinois tourists, and every so often a reference to the elusive Hodag. Yes, the Hodag, the fearsome critter that supposedly roams these Northwoods. In your mind, the town is obsessed with the thing and its legend. You appreciate the cultural pride they get from the silly beast, but it's a bit too kitsch for your tastes. The days fly by, and now your vacation is at an end, so you pack up your car and bid your aunt and uncle a fond farewell, grateful you have decided to venture up north. As you drive away in the wee hours of the morning, you make a spur-of-the-moment decision to go for one final hike. It'll be good to walk your dog before the long drive back to Chicago. You pull off at a trailhead leading into a state forest. With the exception of one other car, it looks like you'll have the place to yourself. A quick walk in the woods will do you and your dog good. As you trek along the trail, you are accompanied by the usual Northwoods sounds. Off to your right, you hear a loud rustling in the woods. You stop to get a closer look, but it's just a red squirrel making a ruckus. You don't have the leash as firmly held as you thought, and in a split second, your dog breaks free and pursues after the squirrel, both of them disappearing amongst the trees and undergrowth. Frustrated, you call your dog's name, but no response. You set off in pursuit, heading deeper into the Northwoods. After a few minutes, you hear barking. You head that way, sure that it is your dog. As you get closer, the barks turn into yipes of fear. You hear a noise coming through the woods, barreling towards you at high speed. Moments later, your dog races by you in full panic. You call out, but to no avail. Your voice drowned out by another noise, one that sounds like a freight train crashing through the trees. Seconds later, the source of the sound thunders out from the trees. It is unlike anything you have ever seen, but you immediately recognize it. It's the Hodag. In a flash of clarity, one thought crosses through your mind. The statue in Rhinelander is a pale imitation of the real deal. The creature before you is a massive, scaly, dark green saurian beast with a row of spear-like spikes running down the center of its back, ending at its tail. Its giant head sports a pair of large, curved horns that are reminiscent of longhorn cattle in Texas. Then there is the smell, the air around you now filled with an overpowering evergreen pine, almost as if someone had spilled gallons of pine sol. From tip to tail, the Hodag screams apex predator, a prehistoric beast, out of place in the modern world, and its prey is your dog. Hey! You yell, attempting to distract the beast from its quarry, but you immediately regret your action. The creature stops in its tracks and spins towards you, impossibly fast for a beast of this size, its giant red eyes now firmly fixed on you. You can almost see its thought process as it evaluates you as potential prey. The conclusion it arrives at does not bode well for you. The Hodag's mouth opening into a large grin, its very, very sharp fangs glistening in the morning light. It steps towards you with a gleam in its eyes. For a moment you are frozen with fear, but instinct kicks in. You turn and take off running back to where you came, with the Hodag now chasing after you, the cacophony of its pursuit spurring you faster. You can only hope you are heading towards your car. Fortunately, your luck holds, and you soon reach the parking area. You realize that somewhere along the way the Hodag lost interest, and you can no longer hear it. The woods is once again filled with serene morning noises. You spy your dog cowering by your vehicle and breathe a huge sigh of relief. Both of you quickly pile into the safety of your car. As you calm down, the world snaps back into reality. The woods around the parking lot, calm and peaceful. After a few minutes, you find yourself questioning whether the events that had happened were real. Regardless, you decide it is well past time to get out of here. As you pull back out onto the highway, you glance up in the rearview mirror, and you swear you catch a glimpse of the Hodag looking back at you. Next year, you are definitely going to the beach.
The Hodag is a Wisconsin Northwoods icon, but you may actually be surprised to learn that its story didn't start in the Badger State. Tales of this creature were being told throughout the Northwoods in lumber camps from Minnesota to Maine. There were even accounts of the Hodag cropping up in newspapers in the 1870s as far away as Arizona. There are several variants of this critter to include the black and spotted Hodags. Some, like the one William Cox describes in his book Fearsome Critters of the Lumberwoods, is basically a whole different beast than what we think of the Hodag today. His version is more akin to a rhinoceros-like creature living on a diet of porcupines that it knocks out of trees. All that being said though, the definitive version of this fearsome critter, the one that we know of today, can be drawn back to northern Wisconsin, most notably the city of Rhinelander. It's there where the Hodag's notoriety really took off. And it's all thanks to one individual, a man named Eugene Shepard. Shepard was a timber cruiser, a person who sets up locations prior to the arrival of the main timber cutting parties. He was very familiar with lumber camp stories, including those of the Hodag. He also had a reputation for pulling pranks. He concocted a story about the Hodag and got it published in the local paper. He then rounded up a group of locals to capture the animal. The group reported that they needed dynamite to kill the beast. A photograph of the remains was released to the press, along with the statement that the Hodag was, quote, the fiercest, strangest, and most frightening monster ever to set razor-sharp claws on the earth, end quote. Shepard wasn't done, though. A few years later, he claimed to have captured a live Hodag. This one was displayed at the Oneida County Fair, and later in a shanty adjacent to Shepard's house. Thousands of people came to see this beast. Interest in it grew, until even the Smithsonian Institute expressed curiosity. Once they announced their interest, though, the gig was up, and Shepard revealed the ruse. The hoax locked in Rhinelander's association with the Hodag, and it wasn't long before other variations and descriptions of the creature started to fade away, such as the aforementioned one by William Cox. Shepard's version became the most prominent, and other authors soon followed using that description as their fundamental building blocks when telling Hodag stories. Luke Sylvester Kearney wrote a fantastical version of Shepard's original encounter with the Hodag, and while Henry Tryon added a few different details in his Fearsome Critters book, he too didn't deviate much from Shepard's take. Both accounts bolstered the reputation of the creature, and over the following decades, the Hodag continued to evolve, becoming more green and dragon-like, but even today, it pretty much can be directly tied back to Shepard's prank. The Hodag in our story doesn't deviate from the current version of this fearsome critter, though ours is a bit leaner in appearance, and I did take the liberty of expanding its palate. Shepard described his Hodag as only eating white English bulldogs, and only on Sundays. My Hodag has a broader diet, willing to hunt and pursue canines ranging as far as wolves and coyotes to foxes and dogs. As for the Hodag's reputation, a visit to Rhinelander quickly reveals that this creature's presence is still strong throughout the region. It's the mascot for the high school, and has a large statue right in front of the local Chamber of Commerce, and has even given its name for an annual country music festival. But don't be misled. If you are ever hiking with your dog in the Northwoods of Wisconsin, and you hear a noisy ruckus coming towards you, you may wish to turn tail and run, because the Hodag may be coming for you. Thanks for watching. Before you go, leave a comment about your favorite thing of the Hodag. And click those like and subscribe buttons below. They really help us out. Join us next time for more stories of fearsome critters.